Hey everybody, a little bit early tonight. Figured we'd get started. Just picked up my daughter from the airport. Just flew in from London because she's done with her 3-month excursion overseas. Interesting. She says, "Hey, what's going on, Corey?" She says the best looking men are in Spain. Who thought? I said, really? So I said, where are the best looking ladies? And she said they're in Poland or Spain, I think is what she said. I said, okay, interesting. And I said, no, they're not. They're right here in Millen, Georgia. I get it. That's what my wife is. The best looking ladies are right here in my house. Anyways, one thing we're starting a little bit early. What's going on, James? Jax, my man, Spectator, 1123. It's nuts when you have kids, my friends. Just how, I mean, yeah, look, you're going to hear this a million times Sunday. I imagine not that many youngins on here, but if you are a youngin, Al, que paso? It is crazy how fast they go. Armanda, hey, I'm doing good, my man. I'm doing good. Doing good. They grow. It's nuts. I tell you, it's it's crazy. Remember when she was just a little, I'll tell you a story while we're waiting. My wife and I were renting this crappy old place on McClellan Boulevard in Phoenix. Good evening, Antoine. And one day the alarm went off at 5:30 in the morning, which was unusual because we usually didn't get up until about 6:30 to go to work. So I guess, I don't know, they don't have daylight savings time. And Leo, they don't have daylight savings time in Phoenix. So it's weird that it went off so early. We forgot to change it. Excuse me. I just got back from a drive, so I'm fine. I'm drinking my tea. There's a commercial for EPTs. So the alarm goes off at 5:30 in the morning, and normally we don't get up till 6. Big A, Leo, Jack, right on, right? And they had a commercial in there for early pregnancy test, EPT. And I said, that's ironic. So we ran up to the store. I got thank you, Wendy. We got a EPT, and sure enough, my wife was pregs with that kid right there. And man, Dustin, hey, right on, Dustin. Out of work just in time. Marine Corps and a Saturday and a Sunday. Yeah. Anyway, so it's just funny because, you think about it, they're little kids, and, we went to go see in Lexington, Virginia, Daniel, and we went to go see his band out of Arlington called Last Train Home play at someplace in Lexington, Virginia. And it was a small set, a small, probably 200, an amphitheater. And my dog was just a tiny, right on, Kenny, Tina, right on, Tina. And my daughter says, VMI, right, Dustin? Right on, man. And in between songs, she goes, I got to go potty. And the guy who knew my wife knew the singer, says, let's take a break so she can go potty. And it's just funny how they grow. You know what I'm saying? And it's you got one life, man, and it's short. That's for sure. When you think about it, you got 20 years to learn. 20 years to figure crap out, and 20 years to put your expertise to work, and 20 years to I guess call it the latter part of your life and enjoy it. Better freaking enjoy it, man. And that's the whole point why I wanted to do this channel, is because you don't have time to be sitting there at 65 years old thinking, man, what if I did this or what if I do that? It's too late now. You got to get on with it, and you got to figure out whatever you've done before. It doesn't matter. Let's get cracking here and enjoy the last that you got. Dan, right on. Dave, right on. White Shoes? No way. Is that White Shoes? You know who White Shoes is? White Shoes, you know who White Shoes is? Anyone who knows White Shoes? Big Canoe, right on, right than not. All right, so we got a guy on here who calls himself White Shoes. Does anyone know who White Shoes? No, not well, like Billy White Shoes, right on. There's a YouTube guy, and whoever gets it, I will tell you, if I'll leave it out there. Whoever gets who White Shoes is, I will send you a personal copy of my book. It's a YouTube guy, and he references White Shoes quite a bit. So it's not Billy White Shoes Johnson. I will send you a personal copy of my book, whoever gets White Shoes. All right, so Anyway, enjoy it, my friends, because it's quick. It's quick. It's quick. And you look, everyone's got kids, don't this. I mean, my God, I'm preaching the choir here, but it makes you sentimental. So part of the as we were driving down the airport, my other daughter was with me. So remember, I got quattro, and she was with me, and I was telling her I like to listen to my videos just to make sure that the volume's good and all that. I don't listen to them all the time, but most of the time I do. And I was listening to one where I was telling about how I have the Irish is my emotional side, but the German is my stubborn side. And my daughter's like, I'm German. I said, hell, man, our native name, or not, my mom's maiden name's Deichmann. I mean, it doesn't get much more German than that. They're freaking Austrian herders, I guess. They moved here they moved from Austria down to live in Phoenix, Bisbee, Arizona, someplace. Bisbee. Aho, something like that, to work in the gold mines. So I said, or a coal mine. I think it's gold mines. So we're German as the eyes as day is long. She goes, I didn't know that. So anyway, it's interesting. What your kids don't know, even though you shared a million times. So I tear up a little bit sometimes, my friends. I get it. I was doing the video of my man whose dad was the black World War II guy, or his granddad was. That bothers me directly. When I did a video of that 5-year-old kid getting killed, that bothered me. When I did a video of the Obama lady who sang at Obama's inauguration getting killed in Chicago, that bothers me, and it makes you tears up because you just wonder how much talent we're losing in America because of our insanity of our laws. And it breaks my heart. But I am stubborn as a mofo, and that's my German side. So my Irish is my very emotional side, up and down, which is why I need to take the Lexapro to just knock it off a little bit. But my German side is definitely my stubborn side, my go get it side. That's for sure. All right, so a couple things. T, my friend, I have been posting a lot lately. I got 20. Well, you can't see it, but I got 20. Tabs open on my Chromebook here of articles that are interesting to me that people are sending me, which I want to write or talk about. And of course, it's just like my anti-library back there. Every time I get one, 4 more come to mind. But it's just fun. I enjoy doing it. I have been doing a lot. At the end, I used to try to do it strategically, like, oh, people are going to watch, or YouTube's going to give me whatever. Now I don't even care. I just put them out there. I try not to put them out like boom, boom, boom. I try to at least give it an hour, but sometimes it doesn't matter. It's whatever comes to mind. It's just as fun. I like it. And that's the thing for you young folks out there, even you folks going a second career. Who has listened to somebody on the James Altucher podcast. I forgot the guy's name, Galway, I think. And I actually listened to his podcast a little bit. I didn't like it. Way too lib. Him and some lady named Kara Swisher. And he didn't represent that as much on the James Altucher podcast. And I get it. I just, I get enough that I don't need to hear it on a podcast. I mean, because it's opportunity cost. So I'm listening to this guy spout off left wing stuff. That means I can't be listening to this guy spouting off libertarian stuff. And my Austrian Revolution, Mises University. So anyway, long story short, but I think he made a good point. I think it was that guy, Galloway. He had written a book. He says, you got to follow not your passion, but follow what you're good at, because what you're good at will develop into your passion with a little bit of time. I was telling my daughter that. I said, that makes sense. That when you follow what you're good at, you're going to get into expertise in something. And then you quickly wake up one day and say, you know something? I'm pretty good at this. I like being an expert in my field. I like being good at what I'm doing. I just lost a number of people, so they must not like my take on politics, I guess. That's fine. I don't – I just see 10 people dropped off. We don't want to hear it. Like, I get it, man. I just don't care. Well, those things, you do it, you just don't care. You just got to say who you are and let the chips fall where they may. But anyway, I thought that was a pretty good take, though. He says, if you follow not what you're passionate about, because you might not find that you're still passionate about that a year from now, but you follow what you're good at, being good at something will probably make you passionate about it. And if you're passionate about it and good at it, you're going to enjoy it, which means you're going to think about it all the time. And that's what I've been doing in this head of mine for 25 years in the financial planning advisory business. I just read stuff, voraciously, or I don't know what that word is, voraciously, something like that. Not ferociously, whatever it is. But anyway, I just read, and I have a lot of stuff that I want to relate to people, anyone who listen. And right now we got a number of people, dozens of people want to listen. So that's cool. So I enjoy it. Don't sweat it if you miss some. Frankly, it's for me more than for you. But anyway, I appreciate that. Tina, I have been posting a lot. I will keep doing so because I like it. Of course, it helps, too, when y'all throw me stuff to write about and talk about, too. Only thing I'd ask is some folks tell me this elaborate I can't. I just don't have the mental capacity to read these long emails. It's nuts. I mean, if you're going to hire me is one thing, but if you're just hoping that I can read your stuff and do a video on it, if it's 5, 6, 7 paragraphs, I simply can't. There's just no way. So I'm not trying to be an ass. I just don't have the manpower to read some of those emails that some people send. And then, halfway through there'll be a question. I can't. So you got to make it, if you have a question, just beat to the punch and be right there. I can't get a deliberate financial plan for you without A, being paid, but 2, without knowing anything more about you in this long, elaborate email. Sometimes people write and say, hey, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? That works real well because I can relate that to the vast audience for sure. But other times I get 7 or 8 paragraphs, this, that, there's no way. In fact, one time some guy got all pissy with me because I said, look, dude, I don't know who you are. I can't give you advice. He goes, well, you give other advice, but you're wanting specific advice. I'm giving other people generalized advice on, when's the best time to take a pension, when's the best time to do Roth conversions, whatnot. And that was kind of weird. All right. So let's see. My man Jack says, question with dividends and capital gains, no taxes if you're in the 10 to 12%. Is there any limit? Yes. Okay. Yes. Oh, great question, Jack. So let me repeat this. Another guy got kind of pissy with me on this too, about a week ago on the channel. I was like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about, which is scary to me. So the question Jack asks is, with dividends and capital gains, we're going to say qualified dividends and long-term capital gains. Let's make sure we establish that first and foremost. You have no taxes if you're in the 10 to 12% tax bracket. 100% correct. Is there any limit on how high your dividends and capital gains can be? Yes, unequivocally. And so once you have enough dividends and long-term, qualified dividends, long-term capital gains to put you in the next tax bracket, you will pay tax on the amount above $80,000 married filing jointly of taxable income and $40,000 single taxpayer. And I mean, look, people don't have to take my word for it. Just trust me. Go on TurboTax. Literally, if you use my Right Capital software, go on Right Capital and just run numbers. It will show you explicitly. I did a bunch of videos on TurboTax in March of April this year, just showing people how the tax situation works. I get this question quite a bit. I used to wonder about this myself. And then I think it was Michael Kitces, probably 6 or 7 years ago. And because Kitces is a machine when it comes to his knowledge of the doldrums of the tax of the IRC, the Internal Revenue Code and the tax planning stuff. And I because a lot of people in financial planning were thinking the same thing Jack asks. You could literally have $1 million of qualified dividends and pay no tax. It's simply not true. And Kitces has big articles which debunk that. Not that it need to be debunked, but there's a lot of back and forth on that. And he showed part and parcel to IRC on that. And so if you want, just go to TurboTax. You don't have to pay for anything. You just sign up for a free account, which is what I do. And I just type the stuff in there, show you. Once you break the 12% tax bracket, even if you have no income at all other than qualified dividends, you are going to pay tax. I guarantee it. It'll still be better. It'll still be more favorable. Qualified dividends, long-term capital gains are still more favorable than ordinary income every single time. That's not debatable. But they are taxable once you break the 12% threshold, regardless of if you have no other income. I cannot stress this enough. So some guy was on there on the YouTube channel saying I was being moron because I was telling people they're going to pay tax or not. I said, dude, I mean, look, people can say whatever the hell they want. I don't care. But I think it's you just go to TurboTax. Literally just try it. You can go on there, do a sample thing. I mean, you can't obviously submit it to the IRS. Well, why would you want to anyway? TurboTax is great in that regard. And just go and do a sample plan. A sample tax return is easy. Just say, I got no income. I'm married, filing jointly. I got $100,000, we'll say $150,000 of qualified dividends. All right. And then it's going to say any other income, say no, and see what the tax bracket is. I've done videos on this a little while ago using the Right Capital software too. And the interesting thing is I don't have the tax form here anymore, I don't think. No, but there's a tax form. And I can't remember off the top of my head, but Right Capital uses it. And it says, this is what your qualified dividends and long-term capital gains will flow over to the page 1 of the 1040 to page 2 now. One of those, I guess it's page 1. And it's very interesting because you don't see it necessarily. It's interesting because while it flows over, you don't actually see it. And yet it shows up as more tax. And what's going to happen is you're going to say you owe $3,000 in tax. but your taxable income is, you know, 45,000 bucks. Well, yeah, 45,000 bucks. We'll just say that for an example. And so you're single, and you say if taxable income of 45,000 bucks, and you owe, let's say 5,000 for simplicity. So, well, how can I owe 5,000 if my taxable income is only 45,000 bucks? That doesn't make any sense. And the reason is because your long-term capital gains and qualified dividends flew to that, what I can't remember what not was a line item 12. I forgot it now, the new 1040. But you don't see it anywhere on the front page of the 1040. I'm telling you, it's interesting as all can be. It's going to be confusing if you're not paying attention to this. So, long-winded answer to your question, Jack, is you can't make more than, again, it's roughly 80,000 bucks of taxable income, which would be about 105,000 bucks of AGI, married, filing jointly, depending on how old you are, and roughly $40,000 of taxable income if you're single, which is about 52,000 of AGI if you're single. All right, you got it. Wendy says, Mr. Sensible, love your advice. Thank you, man. Listen to you every Sunday. Drive my forklift at Ford Motor Company in Louisville, Kentucky. Isn't that interesting? So I did a video yesterday on the rich people in Sweden don't want to take planes anymore. And I used a guy in West Virginia who's going to go to the Toyota Tundra factory in San Antonio, who's not going to take a train down there because he needs to learn how to do the engines on the Toyota Tundra so he can go back and work on some vehicles in West Virginia Toyota dealerships. He's not taking a train because he doesn't have the money to afford to take the train. He needs to get to the place quickly, as efficiently, as cheaply as possible. He's not taking the train to save CO2. And like my man Kenny here, he's not taking a train to get to Ford Motor Plant, I guess up in Detroit. I'm sure there's other Ford Motor plants. I don't think we have any here in Georgia. We have Toyota in San Antonio. We have BMW in South Carolina. And here we got Nissan in Georgia. But I mean, my man Kenny isn't taking a train to save the world by getting like these rich people in Sweden do. I just kind of chuckled at that. Tina, right on. Tina, right on. Ooh. Oh yeah. So if you see any idiots every now and I guess I'm making headway because I'm getting more people trolling on me, which is kind of funny. All right, let's see here. Troy says, we meet with Wells Fargo 401k at my work tomorrow. I'm not sure what they have to tell us, but wondering if you could come up with a killer question to ask them. All right, so Troy, you're meeting with your Wells Fargo 401k provider. All right, so that's a great question. What would I ask if I was advising my man Troy here, and he's meeting with his Wells Fargo 401k? So we're going to assume a couple things. We're going to assume that Troy has no ability. He's still working. All right, so he can't move that Wells Fargo 401k to an IRA. We're going to assume that. So it's a ERISA plan, Employee Retirement Income Security Act plan, which is a qualified plan, and a 401k, 403b, TSP, 401a, the whole thing. IRAs are not under ERISA. They're tax deferred, but not qualified plans. So ERISA plans have a lot more stringent rules when it comes to the plan sponsors because they don't want to get sued. So we're going to sue. Troy is still working there. He has no ability unless he has an in-service distribution. I'm not even going to mess with that. I find that to be not that big of a deal. But Troy's still stuck there. The one thing I'd ask Troy is, how does my spouse have access to my money if I'm incapacitated? That's what you ask. How does my spouse have access to my money if I'm incapacitated? The biggest drawbacks of ERISA plans, qualified plans, isn't the crappy investment options. I'm telling you, the TSP only has 5 investment options. That's it. And everyone says, oh, they're crappy. No, they're just fine. They're just fine. They're cheap as can be. And Wells Fargo is probably a little bit more expensive. I can't imagine they're killing you fee-wise, though. I just can't. Maybe they are. It's hard to imagine. But anyway, it's not the crappy investment options. It's the crappy distribution options. And that's what you want to ask. And if the Wells Fargo people know your employer-sponsored plan, i.e. they know what the options are, not just on investments, but on distributions amount, they should be able to rattle this off pretty quickly. Now, I'm not saying to challenge them to make them look stupid, but it's important to know. You say, what happens if I'm incapacitated? And Troy, you'll know if they know what the hell they're talking about, because if they say, did you name your spouse as beneficiary? that is not what we're talking about. We're not talking about you being dead. We're talking about you being in a car crash. We're talking about you being a stroke. We're talking about you overseas. We're talking about you not having access to your money for whatever reason, and you need to assign that duty to your spouse. How does he or she have access to it? That's a critical question. That's what I'd ask. Has nothing to do with investments, and that's where you throw off a lot of these investment guys. In fact, I say this all the time. If you want to find a true financial planner and not just some investment jockey, is you ask them questions that have nothing to do with investments, but are actually more important on your financial plan, i.e., all right, Mr. Guy, Ed Jones guy, just use that for example. I'm just not picking on Ed Jones. I like Ed Jones. Not picking on him. I like them because they're investments. When they go to broad-based financial planning, I don't like that because I don't think they're financial planners. They're investment guys. I got no problem with that. Stay in your lane. Isn't that what the kids say today? Stay in your lane. So stay in your lane. But what I'd ask is, how, again, do I have access to, or my wife have access to my money if I'm incapacitated? If they hem and haw, if they don't even know what you're talking about, or even worse, they say, well, she's a beneficiary, isn't she? That means they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And that means you need to find out yourself, which is scary in of itself because they're supposed to be the professionals who know your plan back and forth. And in that case, they don't. So I just ask. And it's okay for them to say, I don't know. Let me get back to you. This is how you're going to find someone knows if they're serving you right. It's okay to say they don't know. I mean, why would they know every plan that they're responsible for? Say, I don't know. That's a great question. Let me find out. But you'll see the answer, whether or not they're BSing you or whether or not they say, that's a great question. I never heard that, but that's great. Let me look into it. And how they answer that question, my friend, is how you're going to know if this guy's legit or ladies are legit. Any thoughts on what's V? Is that the dividend? My man, White Shoes. Still waiting for. Let's see. White Shoes. Get a free copy of this book. White Shoes. Who's a YouTuber who references White Shoes? Any thoughts on? I guess that's a dividend growth fund. White Shoes. I don't have any thoughts. No thoughts. I don't know. I don't pay much mind to it, frankly. But yeah, Vanguard's open it, and it's I'm fine with it without question. I don't have any thoughts though. Don't know enough about the fund to give an opinion. Let's just put it that way. Agreed. My two did I gotta go be at church today. Oh, that's awesome, man. I gotta go potty. One time we're at church, in Catholic. I don't know if other religions, but Catholic church, we do a midnight mass. And one time we went to midnight mass, and this lady, some Chloe was like 3 years old, and this lady had like fur boots. You know what I'm talking about? Those boots like fur things on them. And and in between songs, we sing a lot of songs at Catholic mass, especially on Christmas Eve. All of a sudden, you have boots. She was boots. Oh man, it was so funny. Oh, boots. Just let me share another story too. So one time we went to a Betsy Ross in Philadelphia, right where about to move to Philadelphia. We went to Betsy Ross Museum, and both my kids had speech problems. Oh, it's funny as hell. And they both, because they have one's got dyslexia, dysgraphia, and they just both had speech issues, which thankfully they don't have anymore because we pay for a speech therapist. Again, if you're affluent or moderately affluent, you can pay for things like dyslexia testing, speech therapy, and things like that. If you're just some poor mom trying to raise 2 or 3 kids, it's tougher to do. And it breaks my heart when these kids have dyslexia and everyone thinks they're dunces when they're not. Well, anyway, so my Cav is probably 3 or 4. He raises his hand. He asks the narrator guy, he says, why'd they go to those flags? But you couldn't understand. The guy could. It was funny, but this big, tall black guy must have been 6'4", like 3, big, nicest guy ever. But he's like, whose questions do you? So Kevin says, why do you got all these flags? And he my wife said he asked why they have all these flags. And the guy's like, oh, he went over this litany thing. It's funny. And literally 2 seconds later, he says, okay, any other questions? And Kevin's little brother, Liam, my youngest, raised his hand. He goes, yeah, what's up, buddy? He goes, why they got all these flags? It's the same question. The guy said, I don't know what he said either. And my wife said, he said the same thing. Why does he have all these flags? The guy's like, oh, do I need to answer that again? My wife's like, no. But seeing this big black guy just with that face, like a terrified face, like, I got to answer that again because he went on this like 5-minute thing on why Betsy Ross had out. It's funny. It's cool. We learned a lot, but seeing this big guy, just like this little 3-year-old boy, just chopping off of the knees with a question. Oh my God. It's the funniest thing ever. Renee, what's going on? Oh man. Jack says your bomb book is the bomb. Probably don't want to say that on YouTube. I have a bunch of folks reading it now and about to order 10 to hand out to friends and family. Man, right on, Jack. You are the man of all men. Appreciate it. And that 10 order is going to make me rich. Make me rich. I do appreciate it, brother. Phil from Indy. Watch you live is my Sunday night ritual until my man says, wait till the Patriots are playing the Steelers, I think September 3rd. I'll still be here. I was watching in my physical therapy the other day. They had Tom Brady on the ESPN thing, and I was like, "Man, what is that? 42 years old? That guy? Hell, Serena Williams, 37. Do you know Serena Williams is 37? Crazy." Greg said, "Josh helped me leave my crappy old job." Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Josh. You got it, brother. Guten Tag, Air Josh. Ooh, Guten Tag. Donkey shorts. I searched and came up with Pete the Cat, white shoes, close. Yes, Troy. Holy crap, Troy. Flossie Carter. All right, Troy, email me. I will send you this book. Oh my God. That Flossie Carter is. We watch all my kids watch Flossie, man. This is awesome. Calm down, white shoes. I want to get a shirt from Flossie Carter that says calm down, white shoes. He's got his hand going like that. Is the funniest thing in the world. Oh, Troy, how'd you know that? That is awesome. All right. Send me an email, Troy. I will mail you this, or either one, man. You tell me what you want. You want that book? You want this book? Or you want this book? Oh, that still hurts my freaking arm. So you tell me what book you want, Troy, and I will mail it to you. Absolutely. That's awesome. Which book from Quinn did I? Oh, wait, here we go. Fred brought my books. You can, okay, to help explain to my wife what I'm doing in the IRAs. Had the books from Quinn. I don't know who Quinn is, man. And I get caught off. Who's Quinn? Jane Bryant Quinn, is that her name? Right on, though, but I appreciate it, Fred. You're the man. I still can't believe Troy, Flossie Carter. If you want to laugh, the guy is friggin' funny. It's just funny. It takes time he throws over. It's just, I love that guy. Queer question. Ooh, that's kind of scary. My man now Woodworks. I have 2 offers coming out of college. Number 1, business analyst position, making $55K a year with benefits in a great company, work with lots of opportunities. Number 2 is a fee-only wealth management position. Wow, that's all right. This is a great question. Now, I much obliged. So our man now is about to get married. He is getting out of college, hopefully without much debt, if any. He's got 1 job, which a business analyst position, making $55K a year, which sounds incredibly boring to me. But I mean, you're going to have to do some boringness to get some experience for sure. $55K a year, it ain't bad out of college, brother. With benefits, great company to work with, lots of opportunities. Number 2 is a fee-only wealth management position. I would take the business analyst position 100 times out of 100. And the reason why, Niall, and I presume you're a young guy getting out of college. I don't know that to be true, but my presumption is you're young. No one's going to hire you the fee-only wealth management position. They're not, because you don't have enough street cred. You don't. And people say being young is an asset. No, not in this business. No, I'm just telling you, it's not. Not because you're not smart enough, because you don't have experience, man. That's the issue. You don't have experience. What happens is once you get experience, you can use that to relate to other people. And that's what they don't give 2 craps about your stupid CFP. And I right now we're in the midst of a CFP come to Jesus moment. I've always challenged the idea that CFP is all that in a bag of chips. I mean, I'm glad I got it, but it doesn't make you a good financial advisor. Anyway, I'll say that for a different issue at some point. But anyway, fee-only wealth manager who gives 2 craps about you. I hate to say it, but your advice is minimal at best, because people say, dude, I know more than you. And this is why a lot of people in my business are afraid of engineers. And I think it's a horrific mistake. I love working with engineers because they intuitive, they get it as long as it's played out to them. And I've talked to many men, an engineer of all sorts. They say, look, I just tell me how this works. I just have to know how this works. I can analyze the data until I'm blue in the face, which I don't mind doing, but sometimes I don't want to do that. And if I do want to do it, I just want to make sure it works. And if you have in there where you can let me show you why this works, that's going to help you immensely, but it's going to be hard to do that right out of school. And I hate to say that, fee-only wealth management position is a sales position. And you're not going to have enough experience to give yourself the confidence to take no's for an answer. And then what that happens is you'll go in there for about 2 years, you're going to wash out, which the vast majority of us do. And then you're going to be sitting there thinking, where do I go now? And the business analyst position say, well, for 2 years, and what have you done? You say, I was in sales as wealth management. They're like, well, obviously you didn't succeed because you're asking us for business. I'm telling you, man, don't do that. Get experience first. Get experience, and then go over to that side. As you're getting the experience working at your job, read some books, take some classes, learn Larry Kotlikoff, read my man Rob Keebler, Phil Kavesh, Kavesh. Let me just type that in there. Actually, I forgot I could type Phil. All right, Phil Kavesh. Oops. We got Robert Keebler, Larry Kotlikoff, Alan Roth. I actually tore into Alan Roth a little bit yesterday on the CFP board controversy we're having. Drawing a blank, some other people. No, you got to read Nassim Nicholas Taleb. That's just some right there. So read those guys. And go on and be prosperous. Get married, be loving on your spouse. If you got woodworks in your name, my assumption is that you are good with your hands too. Keep doing stuff with your hands as well, because that's a good. Actually, it'll be relieving to you for sure when you're getting your crappy little job, because it's going to be crappy at some point. And when you go and make some freaking stairwells, make some bookshelves and stuff like that, just keep your mind sane. Just remember, the big picture is 3 to 5 years from now, you got 3 to 5 years of real life business experience. You've been able to sock away some money. You're happily married to your beautiful better half. You're still doing your word work, and you've been reading books on the end. And now you're ready to take on the world, and you're going to be freaking ready to kick butt and take names. Give it a 3 to 5 year, a pretty high paid internship is the way I look at it. Juanita, right on. Not Jeff. Jeff, late, man. Clint, what's up? Tina says, that is true. I figured I'm in a great position now. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm behind that, so I'm not sure what you're referring to, James or Tina. Sorry, friends. Jeff, I'm only good at watching you on tube. Not sure how to make career out of that. Yeah, well, you gotta get on the front of the camera, but you don't even have to go on the front of the camera. Watch my man Tony Heller. He does his climate change stuff, and I've never seen his face other than when he's interviewed a couple times. Marty checked it out from the library. Just started today. Voraciously, that's it. JD, right on, JD. Good to see you. Thanks for the 4-part series and when to take Social Security. Really enjoyed it. Oh, a couple of things on that. A lot of people, and I guess it's my problem. So I did the 4-part things on when the best time to take Social Security. Thanks, Dan. All I was trying to do is establish that. I hear a lot of times, what if you take Social Security early and invest it? And I think I was able to kind of put that, that debate in the ground. You didn't do better by investing it than delaying. You just didn't. I guess it could just obviously depends on what rates of return you get for sure. But some guy threw a curveball at me today, which was pretty interesting. I can't remember if it was an email on YouTube, but I don't think you can, unless you need the money. I think we just got to go away from taking it early. I really, really do. But I think I'm now kind of leaning a little bit even more towards taking it at full retirement age. And the reason for this is, and this was actually, it's weird how when you actually are open-minded, you can listen to people. This guy said, but hey, right on. Whoever gave me that $20, much obliged. But this guy said, I'll get your comment just a second. He said along these lines, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Yeah, but if you take it later, you might not have as much time to enjoy it because forget the break even, but you could dilate. The older you get, the more likely you are to die. And for some reason, because I'm a big blockhead, I said, something, that's a good point. And on top of that, if you take it later and your spending does go down. So essentially what happens is you have your Social Security is increasing, but your spending goes down. So you get this delta, a greater and greater delta. I had never thought about it like that. For some reason, that hit me. And I said, that's actually a pretty good point. 62 is too early. Don't take it at 62 because you don't want to be reduced. But your full retirement age compared to 70. So if I'm convinced, and I am, and in my book, I show you why I'm convinced about your expenditures going down. It's simply because your mortgage is paid off. And also you don't spend as much at 80 as you did at 70, and so on. Why would you not take it earlier at 67 for my full retirement age to enjoy a couple extra 3 years of having that money coming in, especially if your expenditures are going to go down once you hit 75, 76 and whatnot. And I'm not 100% convinced on that yet. I just, it was interesting. And the reason I share that with you isn't because I'm wishy-washy on this, but there's absolutely no right or wrong answer to this. The numbers between 66, 67, and 70 are so doggone close. I think it's a wash in terms of when the best time to take it. I think if you're going to do conversions, don't take it until 70. But if conversions are off the table because you're single, for instance, take that full retirement age would be I'm leaning towards that. If you're married, no, don't do that. Take it at 70 because I got to take care of Charlotte, for instance. And trust me, I'm going to take care of her by leaving every penny I can on my Social Security benefit. So for me, I'm going to take it at 70 because I got to take care of the beautiful one. But for if I'm single or if, I don't know, all kinds of other what ifs come in there, taking at 67, 66, whatever it is, would still, I'm not against that nearly to the extent that I think I might have been portraying. I don't mean that. I just think 62, I think I was able to kill that once and for all about taking at 62 and investing. And that is, I don't think so. Thank you, sir. Great info. Right on, Jack. Bola, New York. What about, whole life insurance? Okay. Oh, man. My man Ross up in PEI had sent me a thing on this, and I've been meaning to get to it. I'm not a fan of whole life. Let me back up. I'm not a fan of that infinite banking thing at all. And I'll tell you why. In whole life, I'm not a fan other than one. There's a couple times I'm a fan of whole life insurance. Now, whole life and universal life, I got to say, my friends, are different. Whole life, you pay a premium, you have insurance literally for your whole life. It cannot go away. It's contractual, a unilateral contract between the insurance company and you. You're obligated to pay X premium, and they are obligated to pay you a guaranteed minimum cash value and a death benefit at your death. That's all there is to it. It's literally for your whole life. Universal life is not like that. Universal life, the risk is on you because the interest rates can change, the guaranteed minimums can change, the expenses can change, the whole thing. So the insurance company is not, other than the guaranteed minimum, interest rate they'll credit to you, they're not guaranteeing anything at all. And so with universal life, the risk is on you, not on the insurance company, if that makes sense. And even if you make the premium, it can still fall flat, which I tell you, if you have universal life, you're going to be in a world of hurt. You need to get an in-force illustration. Please, for the love of the good Lord, get an in-force illustration. Call your insurance company. I'm waiting on the fact. It's funny. I'm working with some wonderful couple here in Georgia. Got some life insurance. I think it's through New York Life, which is a good company. Or maybe it's, Northwestern, which is a good company. I said, of course, they don't know what an in-force illustration. And I said, I think it's I can't remember. But anyway, I said, you got to get an in-force illustration. They said, I don't know what that is. I said, told them what the in-force illustration is. And so they call, and it's going to take 3 flipping weeks to get that in-force illustration. This is freaking insane. I said, are we living in the Stone Age here? Insurance companies, come on, this is nuts. 3 weeks to get the in-force illustration. I'll get back to your question here in just a second. The in-force illustration, what it does is it says your statement shows what the policy is worth today. It's a snapshot. Here's your policy today. Here's how much cash value you have. Here's your death benefit. Here's your premium. Here's your premiums paid today. Blah. I just burped. That was pretty rude. Sorry. If my wife was here, she would literally punch me. But here's your interest rate, all that stuff. It's a snapshot. It doesn't say crap about what the future is going to be. The in-force illustration will show you based on today's info that we have, and we fast forward that out 15, 20, 30 years, here's the strength of your policy. And then we're going to say strengthen your policy with guaranteed minimum interest rates, guaranteed high costs and whatnot. They just run you three different things. They say guaranteed, midpoint, and current. And so what happens is you get this in-force illustration. I've shared this story a million times a Sunday, but it's so important. There's a doctor in South Jersey I was working with. He had $1 million universal life policy, and he had that's a death benefit. I think he had what, $88,000 of cash value? Yeah, something like $88,000 of cash value. And he's 67 years old or something like that. And he bought it in the early to mid 90s. So he's thinking, because back then the interest rates are freaking higher than they are significantly. This is 5, 6, I guess 8 years ago now. Man, I've been here slow. Anyway, so the issue is he thought he was in good shape. And what I always do is I'm dealing with a client. I'm saying, we got to get the in-force illustration. And they all say, I don't know what that is. I have a statement for you that every single person is going to say that. I got a statement. The statement is fine, but it's not what we're looking at. So I said, no, man, Dr. Smith, you got to, get me the in-force illustration. And, at this case, he worked for USA, so I could just quickly present it myself, which is why it's nuts that these people I'm working with, it takes them 3 weeks to get this stupid thing. Because, literally went on the computer, boom, 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 print off, said, this is going to lapse when you're 77 years old. He was pissed. He said, whoa. I've been paying, whatever it was, $500 a month in this since 1993. I get $88,000 of cash value in here. It's only worth $1 million death benefit. All right. I'm in good shape. What the hell are you talking? He was pissed. I'll never forget this. And the issue was when it was illustrated to him in the mid 90s, we're using, I think, 5 to 6% crediting rate, an interest rate of 5 to 6%. Those days are long gone, man. Long gone. Now we're paying, I don't know what it was, 2.5, something like that. I can't remember. But not only are we paying 2.5 now, we've been paying 2.5 for a long time. And so what's happening is the cost of COI, the cost of insurance, is creeping up each and every year. And his cash value, while going up a little bit, isn't going up enough to keep the cost of insurance is right here. The cash value is right here. So what's going on? The cash value is going up a little bit, but the cost of insurance is skyrocketing. At some point, the cost of insurance right here is above the cash value. And so it's taking out the cash value, and the cash value is now going down until it lapses. So so when he's 77 years old, it's like a bell curve, and it explodes. There's nothing there. Even if he's making the premiums, it doesn't matter. The cost of insurance is getting so high because he's getting so much closer to death that unless he funded that sucker with significant amount of money, it was going to last. I'll never get that guy. I hated to have to tell him that because he was pissed. Rightly so. He came into my office, Center City, Philadelphia, on the 46th floor. Took the train in from South Jersey, and this is what I'm telling him. But I had to tell him, because if I didn't tell him, it's what's a guilty by omission or whatever it's called. Anyway, so we had to figure out what to do. That's universal life. And that's the issue with universal life, is that you're not likely to survive. You're likely to survive your policy. All right, so going back to whole life. The wonders about whole life is if you can get some serious cash value on the front end of the policy when you're young and dumb and you're not going to die. All right. And this is the problem with whole life, is because you're young and you don't have that much money. It's hard to fund the whole life policy with much more than a couple $100 a month. And because of that, you're never going to get that much cash value in there. You're never going to get that much cash value. And if you don't have that much cash value, well, y'all can't see where I'm pointing at, the infinite banking ain't going to work, because the whole point of infinite banking is you can basically borrow from your cash value in order to pay off other debts. But there's not enough cash value in there to keep the policy current. I can't stress this enough. It's great if you can fund that sucker with significant amounts of money. And there's things called MEC, modified endowment contracts. I'm not going to get into that, but at the end of the day, if you don't have enough cash in there on the front end, while the cost of insurance are way down here. So if I'm 30-year-old Josh and I'm in good shape, I get rated like Superman, my cost of insurance are nothing, because the insurance company says for every 30-year-old Superman Josh, we expect him to be around until he's 84 years old. So we're going to get 54 years of premiums from this guy, which means I have 54 years to pay into this. Thus, USA has a lot of money which to invest my premiums and make money. So they're going to say, okay, we're going to charge $200 a month. We'll just say that. I'm like, okay, $200 a month, but it's not going to get me much cash value, because it's only paying the rates of interest at that time. We'll say 3%. That's it. So I'm getting 3%. Whoop-de-doo. 1% of that's going out to fees. So I'm netting 2%. That's not enough to get enough cash value built up there to be able to use the cash value that I have in there when I'm 55 or 60 to pay off debt that I have. It doesn't work. The only time it works if you can fund that sucker with significant cash value on the front end, even if you mech it. Again, I don't want to get into that. That means dropping a lot more in there that kind of violates what the life insurance is for, but you can still do it. If you can do that, you can be in pretty good shape. But most people can't, because most people are, when they have the best life insurance opportunity, they don't have any money. They don't have a pot to pee in. So anyway, that's my problem. I get this all the night. Oh, another thing about whole life. We're paying 5 and 6%. Freaking, that drives me up the wall. I got a big debate with this guy on YouTube about 6 or 7 months ago. Now, I can tell he's new to the business, so I was trying to be nice to him. But it's pissing me off. He kept saying we've been paying 6% to 7% a year. I said, okay. I drop $100,000 in here. What's my cash value in 10 years? Just tell me what my cash value in 10 years was. Because if they're paying 6 to 7% a year, it should be worth $200,000. We'll even say $180,000, right? I mean, that's not hard to do. If you're getting 6 to 7% a year is what you're paying me as interest, which is what he said. I didn't say that. Fast forward 10 years from now, what is my cash value going to be? He hemmed and hawed, and he says like 110. I said, where are you getting your 6 or 7% a year? He goes, well, there's other costs that go with it. I said, no S, Sherlock, but you're crediting me 6 to 7%, but you're taking out 4 to 5%, if not more, on freaking cost. So crediting and interest rate are two completely different things. And yet you, because this guy's a rookie, I was going light on him. Other guys aren't rookies. They're lying sacks of crap. I said, you're lying by allowing your clients to think they're getting 6 and 7% interest rate when they're absolutely not. And how we know that is because you can do an illustration right now for any life insurance guy. So I'm dropping $100,000 in there. What is my cash value worth in 10 years? It won't be worth $180,000 to $200,000. I know that for a fact. And then he went into his diatribe. Well, you got to pay commission on that. That's okay. That's fine. How about after 20 years? What's it worth then? All right, because after basically the first 10 years is when the fees all eat you up. After another 10 years, all those fees are presumably gone, right? What's the cash value then? He ran his numbers, and it's like $125,000. So I said, okay, again, I'm getting 6 to 7% interest rate, but after 20 years, my $100,000 has only accumulated an extra $25,000. Where the hell is the 6 or 7% interest rate? And he had all these things on diatribes, but I said, but you're the one who said it's paying 6 to 7%. Inherently, it's not. It's fake news. Oh, and it drives me crazy. It's kind of like these guys with their stupid annuities saying, oh, our annuities are paying, 5.5%. That's freaking principal plus interest, man. You can't say that. Anyway, the problem with it, sorry about this. I'm going off a diatribe. The problem with these life insurance guys is they get to say stuff that we in the investment side can't. And so they get to allow you to walk away from the deal that you're getting 5, 6, 7% interest when you're absolutely not. It's a return of principal or distribution yield, which is not the same thing as an interest payment. Or you're getting a crediting rate on your insurance company from your insurance policy, which is not the same as an interest rate. I'm telling you right now, any of these insurance guys who start saying it's too good to be true, the reason they're saying that because they either A, are ignorant about their product, or B, they're lying 100%. And they don't need to do that because there are policies that work. Drives me crazy. All right, sorry about the friggin' yeah. All right, so we got right on, Dan. Appreciate that. Marie, Matt Single. Oh, you guys are good people. I don't care what they say. Sally Quinn. Oh, Sally Quinn, the lady from it can't be Sally Quinn, right? The lady from the Washington Post, that rich lady. She's not doing financial stuff, is she? Any downside to SWMBO taking Social Security? So, I don't know what SWMBO is. Lee, I don't know what SWMBO is. I'm sorry. Taking Social Security at 62, then switching to spousal. Okay. All right, I'm not sure. All right, so here we go again with Lee. I think this guy asked me this to begin with, and I didn't quite get his question. All right, I think this is it. And a bunch of you all, thank you, said I think you're not understanding the question right. All right, so here's the issue. Here's what the initial point was. Remember, if you cannot file a restricted application, i.e., the old kind of, I'm going to take half my spousal benefit and allow my own benefit to grow. You can't do that anymore unless you're born before 2 January 1954. So our man Lee here is not born before 2 January 1954. He's 61. So he said, hey, is there any downside to taking his spousal benefit when I take Social Security at 62, then switch, taking any downside of taking Social Security at 62, then switching to spousal when I take, now my head, I can't, there's a lot going on there. I can't follow exactly. So the issue is here. All right. You can't take a spousal benefit until your spouse files. So you can't get half of the benefit. So let's just say, I was talking to a lady the other day, she's getting like $400 or something like that. I can't remember, but at 62, she should certainly take it without question. I said, why not take it? You'll be reduced by 30%, whatever it was, 25%. So she'll get $300 a month at 62. We're going to wait for her husband to take at 70 for many, many reasons. Like, for me, leaving to my wife a better benefit, whatnot. So what husband going to take at 70, she's taking her early benefit on her own small record at 62. So she'll only get $300 a month. I think the husband's PIA will just, for simplicity, say $2,600 a month. So when he takes his at 70, she'll get half still the PIA. And off the top of my head, I can't remember if her PIA would be reduced because she took it early. I just can't remember. But either way, it's going to be significantly more than what she was getting as her own records. That makes sense. So she's getting $300 as reduced. So $400 is her PIA. It'll be reduced by 25%, just say. So it'll be $300 at 62 off her own record. Husband waits till he's 70 to file. And again, his PIA was $2,600, which means her spousal benefit will be $1,300. All right. So husband's PIA, $2,600. Spousal benefit is half the PIA, $1,300. She's taken a reduced benefit on her own record at 62. It's reduced because her own record is $400 for her own PIA, but she's taken to be reduced, so $300. So again, I can't remember if she takes her spousal benefit at her full retirement age, if that was reduced because she took it earlier or not. Let's just say it does. We'll say that reduces it to $1,000. So what's going to happen now is when he files at 70 and he gets whatever his benefit is going to be, $3,300, she'll get half that $2,600, $1,300. And even if it's reduced because she took her initial benefit early, it'll still be like $1,000 a month. So now she got $300 a month from 62 until, we'll just say 66, and then it'll jump up to $1,000 a month minimum. So no downside I can see. Obviously, you want to run your own numbers, Lee, but why not do that for sure? Now, I can't figure out like what your spouse has been. I don't know all that stuff. So let me just say, seek professional guidance. So no one says, but Josh, you said on YouTube I should do this. No, I'm not saying anybody do anything. I'm just saying, generally speaking, this is the way I see it should go. Why not take your spousal benefit or your own benefit reduced and get your spousal benefit later on? Absolutely. And then allow your spouse to let her benefit grow until she's 70. So that way, if she kicks the bucket for you'll step into her benefit there at the max with not her PIA, but it'll be the delayed earnings credits as well. A lot going on there. No way. I've lost some people. Stay awake. My lady JD says, if not for my crappy old job, I could keep up with their video output. I even started listening to them over Bluetooth in my car during my commute. Right on, JD. Hey, Mary Hampton from Connecticut. Listen to your podcast with Wayne. Oh, man. All right on. Good stuff, Mary. Troy, I think we got that question, Troy. Right on. Jimmy, right on. Jimmy sent me an article on the 7 things you to do after you retire, and that took off, man. That got like 4,000 views. So, but Jimmy framed it. Like, I'm not sure you'll be able to do a video on this. Sometimes short and simple are even better. Marie's and Mitch, Jimmy asked about Roth IRA, asked about Roth 401k. Yeah. If the government cared about CO2 or whatever else is going to kill us next, they would do something. So tractor trailers, they get 5 to 7 miles per gallon, use the same amount of fuel in 1 week as a car does in a year. When you get Mike, right on. When you get access, how do we get access? Mike says, when you get access to Right Capital software for $150, you get access as long as I continue to pay him, Mike. That could be for a day, it could be for 10 years. I mean, it does it says as long as I keep using it. Hey, my man Bruce from Rochester, the Rochester Americans. Right on, Bruce. I like Right Capital. It's just fantastic. The best tax software I've ever seen for what is doing for financial planning. To incorporate financial planning and the tax stuff they do, nothing comes close. There's some issues I have with it, and I email them a lot, saying, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? But Right Capital is literally developed by CFPs, or I hate to say CFPs, financial planners. So it's financial planners who developed it. I mean, I'm sure they hired some software engineers to do it, but they developed it, which I like. Brian, Pittsburgh, Neville Lamp. This is Nalini from Ohio. I was at 80-20 stock bond mix, which went to 84-16. What should my asset low allocation strategy in this environment, low interest rates and bonds be? Age 51, hope to retire at 56. I mean, it's hard to say, Nalini. Just every time I look at the bond market, and I do this more, I don't look at stocks very often, but I do look at bonds, and I see that, you see that TNX right there? That is 1.734. Not going to make any money at 1.734. I was talking to my man Wade Fowle the other day, and like we've always said, look at your Social Security as a bond. Absolutely. Bonds do give you some government bonds. Let me say that do give you some reprieve from a significant downturn. There's just no getting around that. They can give you a cushion, but they're not going to make any money. So, 84-16, I have no qualm with that. None whatsoever. I mean, you're going to get hammered 75-25, 80-20, 85-15. The markets get killed, you're getting hammered. I mean, the bonds will give you a little bit of a reprieve, but this is what always cracks me up. People say, well, if I'm 80-20, I'm not quite 100-0. Okay, so instead of being 55% down from October 2007 to March 9th of 2009, you're down 48%. You 18? No one says that. It's kind of like, well, I beat the index. The S&P 500 was down 37% in 2008. We're only down 32%. Yay. Nah, no one says that. The issue is you just got to deal with the market declines that come in. Now, given that you have 5 years left before you hang up your boots, I'd be building up a cash position, though, man. I'm telling you right now, or man or lady, I'd be building up at least 2 years of cash, if not 3. If I were you, I'd want 2 to 3 years cash to sit on. So that way, when I hang up my boots, when I'm 56 years old, I can take that money out without having to freaking take it out when the markets are getting killed. No, you got it, Troy. You got hires you. Yeah. So Peter the Cat. I love my white shoes. It is Peter the Cat. That's where I think my man Flossie Carter got it from. But this not the answer I was looking for, Mary. Sorry. My man Troy already got it. White shoes. Calm down, white shoes. Why does that guy make us laugh? We're all sitting around watching Flossie Carter just cracking up. It's the funniest thing ever. Oh, man. You got this there's this huge guy, just a big guy. He went on one of his first videos, he's putting up like 225, like 30 times or something like that. And he's got the cutest cat you ever can see. He just comes up. He goes, white shoes, calm down. Oh, my God. It is funny. We just laugh and cry. All right. So how's someone hire me? All right. So a couple things. If your liquid net worth is over, liquid net worth is all, 401k, IRA, CDs and all that. If it's all over $500,000, I charge $2,500 for a full financial plan. And typically what will include is, I'm dealing with a lady right now. She's like, hey, I did the best I can on the software, but I'm not ready to use that to do financial planning. Can we talk about it? And I said, oh, yeah, absolutely. So what we do is we take, usually an hour to hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours on the front end to go over all the stuff you put in the software, because we want to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. You got to get that squared away. If not, it's junk in, junk out. So we're going to have the initial. So basically what you do is you send me the money. I don't offer refunds, just don't have time for that. And I don't offer any guarantees. I might have to give you bad news. Sucks. No other way around that. I have a sneaky suspicion when people are looking to hire me, they know they have a pretty good gauge of where they're sitting at. They just want to be confirmed that they're not crazy talk. And I can do that. Absolutely. Or I can say, this is crazy talk. You shouldn't be doing that. But I'm going to tell you how it is. Anyway, long story short. So you pay me. I run off with your money. You never hear from me again. I actually set you up in the software. and we get and then you take your time to fill it out. I don't like stuff lingering, Dan, so I like to get this done within a week to 2 weeks time. That's all there is to it. And so I said, okay, you fill out the software, you got it good to go, you're good. We set up a call, say, all right, Dan, let's get you and your better half on the line. If you're married, if not, that's fine. And we just go over everything. We go over all that you put in there and make sure everything's squared away. Then we hang up. And then I send you what's called an Uber conference, where I screen share my software so I can show you what I came up with. And usually I say, can we, 2 or 3 days from now, we're going to go over it, and we're going to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours. Like, look, here's the different things you should do, or the things you can do, the things you can be thinking about, the whole thing. Absolutely. We'll look at that from, nuts to bolts. We're going to talk estate planning. We're going to get your life insurance, in-force illustration, like we talked about. The whole thing, obviously investments, cash flow, you name it. And we'll run a bunch of different models. Some people have questions afterwards. They email me, or they want to pick up a phone call. That's fine. Absolutely. They say, hey, I don't know, let's think about this, that, and the other. What do you think? And I'll email you, or we'll pick up the phone and calls. No big deal. Some people don't. Some people just want to confirm me. I think I'm pretty good. It's completely up to you, without question. If you call me every day, I'll have to charge you again for sure, just because I don't have the time for that. But just send an email, no big deal, and say, hey, I had one guy in Texas, my man Monty. He emailed me, said, hey, obviously you don't know Monty from Texas, but he had a list of questions, which is very helpful to me, because that way I can think about it. I say, okay, let's see these questions, bum, 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 bum. Let's answer them one by one, and that way I don't have to do it off the top of my head, because you don't want. I mean, why would you want a financial planner to give you anything off the top of his head? You don't want that. And so just email these questions. And if we need I had another guy out in Utah. He said, I'm just not quite grasping this. Our third call. I said, get on the phone. No big deal. I mean, hell, you paid me. And then you're on your way. And if he has another question, it's fine. I mean, you got to be careful how many questions I say, because I just can't be sitting there, asking if you should use more nitrogen in your garden as opposed to potassium. I can't be answering those kind of, anything. You just got to be, I'm being facetious, but that's how it works. So pretty simple stuff, man. Some folks had a lady who was younger, 30 years old, and liquid net worth well below 500,000, kind of just starting out. And I'm not comfortable charging her for a full-fledged financial plan. Because when you're young, it's not that much you need to do. A lot of times it's just, I need to, I need a sounding board. And so she and I are going to have a talk on Saturday, probably, an hour to two, $250 an hour, just going over what's on her mind. Ideally, they can type out questions and get them to me in advance so we can go through them. And I don't sit there, every 4 minutes, Billy, or anything like that. I don't have any desire to do all that. But, so basically I say, if you're young, there's not much financial planning that needs to be done. What I mean by that, there's some basic stuff, basic rules of thumb. But in terms of financial planning, I mostly help people who are about to retire. Tax planning is what I do. Make sure the investments are located correctly. Roth IRA conversions, estate planning, absolutely. When's the best time to take Social Security? Those kind of things. Gifting strategies, talk a lot of gift. Well, not a lot, but there are some folks who are very adamant about giving to heirs, churches, and stuff. But we got to make sure that's incorporated. But when you're young, like 30 years old, like this lady is, I just say, you want to run some ideas by me, it's going to be $250 an hour. And we'll just, we'll set you on your way. We're not even going to bust out the software in that regard, because you don't need it. I mean, when you're young, you can do the best you can. And then you wake up 5 years from now, then you do it again. You do the best you can. So there's not that much needs to be done for young folks. It's not. I know people say, what are you talking about? We don't have financial planning needs. Not to the same extent. No, you don't. I mean, I hate to say it, but you just don't. And Tina says, go to my website right on. Thanks, Tina. Sally Quinn. Yeah, Flossie, right? Yeah, man. Oh, man. Max out all retirement accounts. Am I stuck with taxable ones now? Yeah, but I don't think you're beast mode. I don't think you're stuck with it, Kevin. I'm a huge fan of taxable accounts. Huge. I'd much rather have taxable accounts than deferred accounts any day of the week. To the extent that you're getting matching, obviously, but on that, deferred accounts, all they're cracked up to be for most people. If you're in high income, it's different. So remember, in your taxable accounts, you want to go full throttle beast mode. Small caps, international, emerging markets, stuff that doesn't pay any dividends much, stuff that's not going to trade a lot, ETFs, index funds. That's what you want. So small caps, growth stuff that doesn't have a lot of dividends, not a lot of turnover, not actively managed. You just want passively manage aggressive stuff in your taxable accounts without question. And that should be your, I mean, you should be freaking going crazy on those in my opinion. So yeah. You're awesome. Thanks for the input you got. Now, hey, keep us in the loop what you do, brother or sister. I imagine it's brother because woodworks. How beneficial are brokerage health savings accounts in retirement, both before and after Medicare? So, yeah, you can't contribute to HSAs and Medicare. Someone had just emailed me an article that they're trying to change something about the HSAs. I haven't read the article yet, but that was interesting to me. That was concerning. So, HSAs are great. I mean, literally, HSAs are great. You cannot contribute to HSAs once you're in Medicare, but you can certainly pay the money out to pay for your Part B and Part D and your co-pays and whatnot. Jack says, "Go Ohio State Bucks." Man, look, my days of watching football are well behind me, but I just love the fall. When the football time comes around, it's just freaking. I just love it. That's the one time I truly miss being in the North. Just the smell of the clean air, the cool breeze, the feeling that, it's coming. This is where I got all my prep and stuff. I remember when I was 7 years old, out in the garden for my mom, looking over the chickens and stuff and just saying, you could feel the nor'easters are coming and you better be prepared. We put on the dual, the pane window, the windows over the windows you don't talk about. And when you're real poor, you know what you do for your storm windows? So when you're poor, what do you do for storm windows? Anyone want to take a guess? So when you're not as poor, you put plastic up there. I just ruined it. Damn, sorry. Well, you put storm windows above your windows when you're in the winters. Storm windows, all right, because of just more insulated stuff. When you ain't got that kind of money, you put plastic, like literally plastic bags over your windows. You know what you wear to keep your socks dry? We never had Wonder Bread because my parents, my mom by this time, my dad was gone because we didn't believe in all that crap. So we never had Wonder Bread, but you wear bread bags. You put them over your feet. There's this guy named John Heffron or something like that from like 15 years ago. He did Last Comic Standing. Holy crap, is the funniest freaking thing. It was like literally watching my own childhood with this jokes this guy was telling. I could not believe it. You literally put bread bags over your socks to keep them dry because you go outside. So anyway, the whole point about the fall just makes you say, I got to batten it up. We got to batten this up because winters are coming. When winters are coming, it's not like Game of Thrones winter with some 5'2" lady who stabs the most evil guy in the world. Stupid. I mean, the winters up there are real winters. They coming, and if you don't have heat because oil forgot to be paid, you're in a world of hurt. All right. Retired on Social Security, love it. No debt is key. All right, man. Right on. Oh yeah, right on, Tina. She's commenting on find out what you're good at. Yeah, no, find out what you're good. No, yeah, nothing more than you said on that. Kudos. Jose says retired on Social Security, love it. No debt is key. That's not difficult. Just don't have your debt. It's crazy. Thanks, Marie. Much obliged. Thanks, Dan C. Omega. I won't even pretend to understand what you just said because I'm a random guy from England that decided to click your stream. Josh answers questions about USA Social. Yeah, right on. He's a hoot. Thanks, team. That's kind of scary. Peter says, can you convert your traditional IRA to a Roth if it's invested in equities? Yeah. Okay. I think no. So here's the question. Man, I keep forgetting to do this video on Pete's question on the Roth. Yeah. So here's what you need to do, Peter. All right. Let's say you got a 200 shares of S&P 500 index. All right, in a traditional IRA. Just using that for an example. And you want to move 100 of those shares to the Roth. You're like, man, I want to split this up. Look, I'm just using this example. No one get all crazy on the price. I don't care. I'm just saying you got 200 shares of S&P 500. You want to convert to a Roth. So what you want to do is you call your custodian, Vanguard, Schwab, Fidelity, Joe Schmo firm out there in Columbus, Ohio, rooting for Ohio State Buckeyes. You say, hey, this is me, Pete. I want to move 100 shares from my traditional IRA to my Roth. And I want to do it in kind. In kind. That means you don't have to sell it to cash out, not like a 401k, which you do. Here, you just move it in kind. So now you got 200 shares here, and now you got 100 on each side. They can easily do that. It's not an issue at all. If it is, you need to change it to custodian. Custodian is the folks who hold your money. That's who holds your money. So you're calling them up saying, hey, move 100 shares from my brokerage IRA to my Roth brokerage IRA. So I have 100 shares on each side. The first thing they're going to do, they're going to say, do you want taxes withheld? At this stage, I'm convinced just go ahead and withhold them because I'm not convinced. When I'm doing the YouTube channel, I just, at the end of the day, what's going to happen is if you don't have taxes withheld, you're probably going to be hit with a penalty because you're supposed to pay quarterly taxes. Some people get hit with a penalty, some people don't. I do not know the rhyme or reason, but that happens. So anyway, you probably want taxes withheld, or at least just send a check to the IRS in advance so that way they don't get up on you. I don't think it's that big of a penalty, but yeah, I'll leave that for you. But that's what they're going to ask. You want taxes withheld. And, you really don't want to have taxes withheld. You want all that 100 shares going into the Roth. You don't want to have that reduced at all. But I'll leave that for you. It's easy. Transfer in kind, traditional to Roth. No big deal. If your custodian gives you a hard time, either the guy you're talking to on the telephone doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, or your custodian's worthless and now find a new custodian. I mean, hell, at USA, we could do this. If USA could do it, certainly Vanguard, the big guys can. Which is one of the reasons I have the big guys for custodians, by the way, because they have more ability to do these kind of things than the small guys do. Omega said he lived in America. Well, my daughter just came from London, my friend. She was just there. And I already said, she said the prettiest men, the most handsome men in the world were in Spain. So not in England. Sorry, brother. She did not say England. She said Spain, even though she loves London. She interviewed at Oxford 2 years ago for their bath, but she didn't get in. But she went in there, and it's cool. She likes it. The British Rail pick kind of gave that away. British Rail pick. You can, yes, right on. That's right. Who said that? Lauren. Right on, Lauren. Let's all talk about England. This is USA, man. USA in your face. You in your face, England. Blame Canada. Blame Canada. We had a driving back from the airport here just right now. My daughter's friend is Canadian, I think, or her parents are from Canada. And we're talking about how much they love London and Europe. I said, this is US of A, people. USA in your face. And then I had to start singing the Blame Canada song, which she had never heard. I was like, man, the kids today, geez Louise. Beautiful day in Worcester, term life only. I, for the most part, I agree with that. Most part, I agree with that. Man, I missed it. Someone said, my man Kevin said term life only. I said, most time I agree with that. I think everyone should have term life, by the way. Everyone should. I mean, once you get no debt, you don't need it, but everyone should. If you're 30 years, if you're my man Dustin, my presumption is Dustin's a young man. He should absolutely have term life without question. $500,000 term life, be done with it. If you're an old guy like me, your old buddy Josh here, 49 years old, going on 90, you should still have term life. But once you hit 65 and no debt, you don't need it. Franklin says, hello, Josh. Hello, Franklin. Y'all going to go to the welfare office tomorrow. The welfare office. All right. Sweet Tiara. All right. Sweetie Tiara. Right on. I'm 31. How to start Roth IRA? How much do I have to put in? What's the catch? You just call a company, Sweetie Tiara, and you say, hey, this is Sweetie. I want to start a Roth IRA. The only thing you got to be concerned with is what your income is. If your income is over, was it? I can't remember anymore. $100,000 on, if your income is over $122,000 and you're single, you'll have some limitations. If you're married, $193,000, you'll have limitations. So as long as your income, this is your adjusted gross income, by the way, is below, let's just say $100,000, you can put, was it $6,000? $6,000. You can put $6,000 into a Roth IRA. My mathematical mind here says 6,000 divided by 12. I think that's $500 a month because I'm the Rain Man. See how quickly I just figured that out? So you could put $500 a month into a Roth. The drawback is you don't get any tax deduction on the front end, my friend. I don't care. The back end tax benefits outweigh the front end big time, big time. And if you want more info on that, some freaking crazy loser from Maine wrote this book called The Tax Bomb in Your Retirement Accounts. And you can see right there how the Roth can help you avoid it. So this guy right here wrote that book. It's only 70-something pages, but it's chock full of tidbits on how a Roth can benefit you for sure. All right, my man Jay, I knew we were going to get some talk about reverse mortgages. Reverse mortgage take income during retirement down years. Sounds like a way you and Wade agree to make your portfolio last. Look, man, Jay, I'm doing it. That doesn't mean you have to do it, but as I said in the earlier video today, the day all right, I'm going to do another video tomorrow. I'm on this thing called Big. What the hell is it called anymore? It's called. Hold on a second. It's called. I just freaking deleted it. No, I didn't. Oh. Big Pick App. BigPickApp.co, and you get 10 days for free. And then if you're a financial advisor, it's $40 a month. It's a little bit pricey for what they offer, but go on there is Big Pick Cap with 2 P's. BIG Pick PIC app. Big Pick App with 2 P's.co, and run it for 10 days for free. It's flipping awesome, dude. And so what you'll see here is if you're sitting on the 4% rule, you're going to see a mass amount of times you had well more you can pull out than 4% a year. In fact, the median is 5.8. And this is on a 60-40 portfolio. So if you've been sitting on 4% a year and you could have put 5.8% a year out, this is why I wrote my blog post the other day on how the 4% rule shortchanges retirees. I mean, it's just like, here's all the other times you could have taken out more. Just like once or two times could you take out lower. It's just not right. So the way I see it is like, if you have this home equity conversion mortgage at the ready, when you get a down market, like in 2007 to 2009, 73, 74, 2001 and 2, if you just, like Wade was saying, if you just put one disbursement out, that can really keep your portfolio alive. And I'm working on that a lot. You can't see the spreadsheets I get out there, but it's freaking sickening how many spreadsheets. I just want to drop an anvil on my head every single morning. I wake up with another spreadsheet to like, stop, just write this freaking thing already. But anyway, if you can avoid pulling money out when the markets are getting crushed by taking some equity off the table, why not do that? And on top of that, the problem with the 4% rule, that's just, I keep bashing the 4% rule. I'm just saying the problem with any financial planning is all based on the issue with the bond yields that were 4, 5, 6%. Those aren't there anymore. They're just not. They're never coming back. Someone had written a great book about what happened in Japan, which I got to read. I got to get that book. I forgot who it was, but it looked fantastic. I'm looking because Japan is 10, 15 years in front of us. That makes sense. They have a debt to GDP of 190. All right. We have a debt to GDP of like 85, 90%. All right. They have a shrinking population. We actually have a growing population because immigration's here. And, everyone hates immigrants. No, we just want it legal. The folks of us on the right say, look, we love immigrants to come here the way it's supposed to be so we can make sure the people who come here are coming here to benefit us. We aren't here to benefit you. You are coming to benefit us. And by that, you just happen to benefit as well. So win-win. Oh, that's xenophobic to say. Now, screw that. It's the way it's got to be. You're coming here. By our invite, we get a chance to police the people at the border who we don't want here. Why is this controversial? I don't understand. Well, it's not controversial among most Americans. In fact, it's certainly not controversial among the Americans the Trumpster needs to get in order to win an election going away, which he will. I'm just telling you right now, because he knows the people he's appealing to, and the people he's appealing to get it. And even some of the people who might not have voted for him, who voted for Brock, are going to say, you know something? These people have gone crazy. You can't have open borders and let everyone in and get free health care. No one thinks that. That's just nuts. And yet, that's what they say. So the Trumpster says, I'm going to watch how many people drop off. Trumpster says, nah, we're not going to do that. I might not like Trump for a lot of things, but I like the country, and so I'm willing to take that one for the team. Anyway, so we like immigrants. We want them to come here. It's wonderful to see immigrants come here and kick butt and take names. I could not be more happy for that to happen for us and for them. I think it's great. So Japan doesn't have that. So we have a growing population. We also have a growing debt, right? We do. We have a higher GDP than Japan, bar none. China overtook Japan. Germany is above Japan. So Japan's now what, number 4, I think. Yeah, I think still number 4. At the end of the day, we have higher GDP growth. We have higher growth, higher population. We have a growing debt, but it's not anywhere near Japan. Why do I say this? Because Japan hasn't had inflation, not at all. All right, so Japan hasn't had inflation whatsoever, which means their interest rates haven't gone up. So everyone says interest rates have to go up. I just say Japan. I say this every week. Every single week I have the same diatribe. Look at Japan. It hasn't happened. There's no quid pro quo. I don't think my man Rob, my lawyer, is on here. But just because you have high debt does not mean you have to have high inflation. Wade was making the point, the reason they have high debt to GDP is because they buy their own bonds. So I was like, well, what the hell do you think we do? I mean, who do you think owns the bonds of the United States? Not the Chinese. They own a lot, but not anywhere near what we own our own money. So why did I just go on the diatribe? No, because if you're using the 4%, you're assuming interest rates can go back to normal. They're not. I mean, they could, but there's no, I mean, it's a crapshoot. You have to look at the CAPE, the cyclically adjusted PE ratio. And I'm telling you, I don't find the CAPE because it's higher than historical means we're going to go into a freaking bear market for the rest of our lives. But at the end of the day, the PE ratios are higher than historical norms. I don't think that's an issue at all. But you can't sit here and say we have 12% Dave Ramsey growth going forward on top of 5, 6, 7% rates, or 4, 5, 6% on bonds. You can't not make that argument and hold virtue. You have to say we're probably going to get 7%, 7.5% on stocks, 3% on bonds, 1% on cash. Thus, the markets have more. They're being held down without question. And so if that's the case, and we're still only taking 4% a year off, and I've just shown you 4% a year leaves a lot of opportunity on the table to pull money out. Well, what's the alternative? The alternative is to tap into some of your equity, tax-free. Why not do that? Because, Josh, the closing costs are so high. I get it. But you know what's even higher? Run out of money. Or even not even run out of money, the fear of running out of money. You know how many people email me just in panic? I'm sitting there thinking, no, stop the panic. You got no debt. You got a pension. You're not running out of money. You're not. Just that simple. So any of you all on this thing right now, if you have no debt and you have a pension, I'm telling you right now, you are not running out of money. I don't care how you're invested. I don't care freaking if you smoke cools. I don't care if you like the freaking Yankees. You're not running out of money. The reason for that is because there's a certain mentality of people who stay at a job, crappy as it may well be, but they stay there long enough to do 2 things: pay off their mortgage, and on top of that, stay long enough to get a pension. Now, they might have been miserable for those 30 years that they're doing it, but now they can get out of that crappy little job and go do what they want to do. And I have a sneaky suspicion, too, that when you look at what's the car out in their driveway, it ain't a freaking DeLorean from Back to the Future. We just watched that video again because I love that movie. He's such a dreamboat. It's not a DeLorean. I don't even know what the fancy cars are. Teslas. Don't the Teslas go up like that? I guarantee it's going to be a 2008 Honda Accord with 185,000 miles on it. Or Ford F-150. Let's say 2004 Ford F-150 with 230. Or me. I got a 2012 Toyota Highlander with 100,000 miles on it. 2010 Honda Odyssey with 150,000 miles on it. All right, so let's keep going. Instead of applying for Social Security when I retire, says Al, 67, what about pulling from my 401k? Yes, and yes. So just real quick, my friends, Al says, 67 next year. Instead of applying for Social Security, do you think about pulling from my 401k and let Social Security grow at 8% a year until I'm 70, expenses low? And the answer is unequivocally yes. Or as we say in the great country of Honduras, where I was stationed for 6 months, C. And I don't know what I guess niet. I would say not no in Russian, right? Not no. I don't know. But yes, the answer to your question, Al, is yes. Unequivocally do that. Read my book. Talk about that. Here's my angle on Social Security. So Richard, I'm retired early and getting most of my income from my IRA. Looks like it'll be beneficial to take Social Security because it's taxed less. I Ooh, I don't agree with that at all, my friend, because the minute you start taking, oh, Richard, I have you got to watch my video. You got to read the book. Look, I keep plugging this down. I don't usually do this as much, but the problem with adding Social Security to IRA or IRA to Social Security is that you're going to every dollar of income that you're adding is going to lead in some regard to $1.85 of taxable income. It's called the tax torpedo. It's freaking insane. It's insane. So if I take $1 out of my IRA, that doesn't add $1 to my modified adjusted gross income. It adds $1.85 to some degree, because what was before not taxed for Social Security, and I didn't have any IRA to take a tax. Now that $1 from my IRA is taxed, obviously, right? Because $1 from an IRA is taxed as OI, ordinary income. But this now is no longer tax-free. So this $1 makes this tax, and it makes 85 cents of this that used to be not taxed, up to 85 cents. It's friggin' insane, dude. It's insane. And so literally that one extra dollar, and you could be in a 12% tax bracket, you could easily find yourself on that one extra dollar paying 35% taxes on that extra dollar of income, even though you're only a 12% tax bracket. I'm telling you, it's freaking nuts. Don't do that. So going back to you, Al, pull out your 401k as much as you can. Because again, once you hit Social Security, you start pulling from an IRA size 401k. Now both of these things will be taxed, whereas before Social Security was not. Which is why I say don't take Social Security until you're 70. And it's just like Al. Instead, is it Al? Yeah. Pull out your 401k. Because at least that way, for those next 3 years, you're only paying every dollar of money you're pulling out of your 401k, because you're not taking Social Security. It's over here. You're just paying tax on this money. You're not paying tax on this money because it's not coming out yet. I get it. It's confusing, but confusing doesn't mean it's better, that it's not going to bite you in the butt when it comes to tax time. It will. It's freaking horrible, man. We're here for the working man. We're here for the blue collar. That's all these guys. Hell, the poor people or whatever. Screw that. None of these guys. They didn't do crap. All these guys had a chance to fix all this. Not a damn one did. Love your passion. All right, says my man or lady, Bola, LA. My videos are always amazingly informative. Right on. She who must be obeyed. SWMBO. I got one of those, my friend. I got one of those. She who must be obeyed. Ooh, what did she get mad at me today for? Oh, that's right. So I was going down to get my daughter at the airport. I said, can I just pull up to the curb? You would have thought you literally would have thought I just gambled away $1 million. She goes, park and go in and get her. She's just come back for 3 months overseas. It's like, dude, she's freaking 18. She's with her freaking 19-year-old friend from their college girls. Why do I got to park and get in there? Why can't I just pull up to the curb? Ooh, you should have saw those daggers coming at me. She's like, forget it. I'll go then. I was like, no, okay, I'll do it. Whew. I was in trouble, man. That was going to be bad. I was in big trouble. Thankfully, the one time in Atlanta traffic, it hit me, where my daughter and I got stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, because no matter whenever you drive through Atlanta, it's going to be bumper-to-bumper. It does not matter. It could be Christmas Eve, dealing with Santa Claus next to you with Rudolph. You're still going to be stuck in bumper-to-bumper. It's freaking insane. And so by the time we got there, my daughter had already landed and already got her bags and already went through custom and was waiting for us at the curb. Worked out for Josh. I called my wife. I said, oh, picked her up at the curb. She goes, okay, good. I said, whoa, what the hell? You just freaking screaming bloody murder at me 5 minutes ago. Well, traffic. I said, okay. Hey, what's up, Jerry? Right on. Great stuff up right on, Gabriel. It will be reduced by 25%. Hey, real quick, original Duck Girl. So Duck just made me think of Duck, Duck, Go. Don't use Google anymore for your search engine. Look, for you libs out there, this is gonna bother you. But I like Paul Joseph Watson. He cracks me up. You might not like him. That's fine. Don't care. I just like him. And I've never gotten to Alex Jones. Don't get the issue with that. But Paul Joseph Watson on YouTube, I enjoy a lot because he cracks me up. He's funny. And anyway, long story short, I want to see how many people drop off here as I talk about this. You're a crazy nut. Nah, I don't care. But it's funny. He said, if you go to Google, you type in Paul Joseph Watson YouTube, right? You're going to find all these alt-right people, whatever the hell that is, I don't know. But if you go into Bing or DuckDuckGo and you type Paul Joseph Watson YouTube, you will find the regular stuff. Isn't that weird? You tell me Google isn't election interfering? And freaking look, I'm on a Google platform now. I get it, but Google. I know you're watching because you're so scared that freedom will be out there. But I'm a sharecropper. I get it. Type in Paul Joseph Watson on YouTube. You'll see it's all anti Paul Joseph Watson stuff. But you go to DuckDuckGo, Paul Joseph Watson YouTube. It's not. It's freaking nuts. It's nuts. That's freaking not right. That's not fair. Paul Joseph Watson almost has like 2 million subscribers. And yeah, some dude who's doing, who's basically stealing his name recognition has like a couple $100,000. Why would that guy show up in front of Paul Joseph Watson? Because it's election interfering. And Google's doing, they know damn well what they're doing. Did you hear about the executive order Trump signed or whatever? I think he did. He said, we're going to look into this. Man, good. It's not right. This is election interference. If I want to type in, freaking legalize drugs, I have no idea what I get. But, this is the kind of stuff where Google does interfere. It's wrong, man. If I want to say legalize drugs, how much, I'm just using that for example. Forget the Paul Joseph Watson stuff. But Google is going to have a preference on what I see on that. DuckDuckGo doesn't. So anyway, that pissed me off. I was surprised. But look, I'm not a freaking shrinking violet here. I get this. I get Google runs this stuff. But I was pissed by that. So that's not right. That's not right. That's completely interfering with people's ability to get free access to information without having to deal with your freaking crap. That made me mad. Anyway, so DuckDuckGo, use that for your search engine. All right, Steve Wayne. I only dropped a couple people, so good. So thank you for sticking with me there. I'm planning to take Social Security at 70. My wife is 5 years younger, has her own work record. When's the best time for her to take? Her PIA is around 1,600 and full retirement age for her is 67. All right, so it's gonna be so she won't get spousal benefit. Steve, probably her full retirement age, I don't know for sure, but probably her full retirement age get to 1,600. She's 5 years younger, so you're going to survive her for sure. My presumption is you probably made more than she did, so you take that 70, let her take her $1,600 as full retirement age. Yeah, dude. And then when you get hit by that proverbial bus, she'll lose that 1,600, but she'll gain yours instead. That's a good plan. Jerry, what do you think about Yang? I've always been a big fan of UBI. Always been. As long as you get rid of the welfare state. Always been. Nixon proposes. Look, I'm anti-Nixon. Nixon was one of the worst presidents we ever had. The only thing Nixon did that was any good was he went after Alger Hiss. All right, now you guys might not know what that is. There's a book on there called Witness from Whitaker Chambers. Nixon literally did a lot to keep the commies out of government, without question. Alger Hiss was a communist spy, it's not debatable, and Nixon went after that freaking fool. And he went after him hard, which is good. Other than that, he was a horrible president. But he did agree of UBI. I mean, that's what he said. But like Milton Friedman said, I'm also in 100% in agreement with immigration. I unequivocally believe in completely immigration. But not when you got the welfare state. You can't do this stuff. You can't have both. You can't have unlimited immigration. We got a welfare state, and you can't have UBI with a welfare state. So it's got to be one or the other. But the politicians love the welfare state because they love you having to beg them for money. They will never get rid of the welfare state. So UBI sounds good in theory, but if you got to get the UBI plus the welfare state, it's never going to work. It won't. So screw that. And I guarantee Andrew Yang isn't going to say anything about the welfare state. And I guarantee the pro-immigration people, I don't even think Reason Magazine has ever said much about getting rid of the land. Maybe they have the welfare state while we allow for unencumbered immigration. You can't have both. You can't have both, man. Anyway, so if I hear Andrew Yang talk more about UBI and getting rid of the welfare state, all for it, man, 100%. But I just don't think I will. I just thumbs up. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, right on, Paul. My treasury bond ladders give me 2.5, but when those bonds matures, I have no idea what if the rates are well below 2. No, Mike. That's a great question. So if you look back in 1982, all right, you were getting 15.25 on a 30-year government bond. 15.25. Fast forward until the end of 2011, when that puppy matured, you were getting 3.25. And don't forget though, over those, that's 15 and a quarter sounds great. It is great. I'm not going to deny that. But 15 and a quarter is not compounding. You don't compound interest on bonds. I don't. It's not compounding. So 15 and a quarter on $100,000, you're getting $15,000 a year, which is great in 1982. But inflation. Fast forward to 2011, that $15,000 a year doesn't look as good. I'm just telling you right now. But still, it's pretty good. Don't get me wrong. But then that bond matures, and the 30 years are at 3 and a quarter in 2011. So now you're getting 3,250, whereas before you're getting 15,250. It's a big drop. It's a big flipping drop. And on top of that, the $100,000 you had in there ain't worth $100,000 purchasing power. That sucker is worth, I don't know, probably half, 48,000. American Funds has a great look. If you get a chance, look up the Investment Company of America, the ICA guide. Let me just type that in here. I don't know if ICA guide PDF. That is my favorite investment chart probably of all time. The ICA guide, Investment Company of America. They got. I don't have it over there anymore. They got the Clausens and the Boons, and I've been looking at this since 2003, I think. And they do it every year. So the Clausens and the Boons. Is the Clausens or the Boons? One anyway. We'll just say the Clausens. They invested $100,000 in Treasury bonds and whatever 20 years ago, and they thought they're good to go. The Boons invested $100,000 in the ICA, the Investment Company of America, and the Clausens just a flat. And when the 20-year Treasury matured, they had $100,000, but it was only going to purchase them the equivalent of $55,000, whatever it is. And on top of that, the interest rates are so low. They were getting $5,000 a year in interest. Now they're getting $2,500. The Boons, on the other hand, because the compounding nature of any kind of investment, of a stock investment, and because the increase in dividends and whatnot, that initial $100,000 is now worth $300,000, and their dividends alone are more than the interest rate of the bonds of what the costs are getting. I'm not explaining it well, but I'm telling you, the ICA guide PDF, get that sucker. It's awesome. Does a Trumpster to get a deal done before the election? I think China's going to try to wait him out because of the communists. That's what they can do. That's why everyone said, all the leftists were saying, look at Castro. He survived 8 presidents. I was like, that's not anything to be proud of. That just shows he's a tyrant, fool. Anyway, so not you, Jack, but that always drove me crazy. Look at Castro. He survived all these presidents. Ha, 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 as if that was a badge of honor for that freaking clown. That always drove me crazy. I think China's going to try to wait him out. I don't think China is going to negotiate because they think, they know if they get Biden in there, they know Biden's going to do what all the other presidents, Republican or Democrat, does. Capitulate. They all do that. Trump doesn't, which is what I like. Look, who comes after the scary thing? Who comes after Trump? Pence probably not going to be. I don't know. And that's what's scary is now we're going back to the traditional Republican Party, which is where I'm going to have a which will probably where I just go full-fledged libertarian, but I'm not voting for some freaking Bill Weld libertarian. I mean, that guy's as libertarian as my freaking, I don't know. I don't even know a good analogy to use. That guy's about as libertarian as much as I like the New York Giants. Let's just put it that way. I don't, and he's not, if that makes sense. Damn, Bill Weld. And at least Gary Johnson was for legalizing marijuana back in the 90s before all the cool kids were doing it, but that wasn't enough. He still was big government. I don't know what I'm going to do after Trumpster, man. I don't know. We'll see. If they nominate some traditional Republican, I just can't have that. Depressing. Well, that's not really depressing. You do it. I mean, to be perfectly honest, my vote doesn't matter. The true libertarians, the Austrians, say don't even bother voting. It doesn't matter. But it's cathartic. I like going out to vote. It's cathartic for me. And if all libertarians didn't vote, at the end of the day, my one vote plus all the other libertarians out there vote. If we didn't all vote in mass, that does add up. So don't do that. Even if you're a libertarian who follow the Austrian school of economics, you got to vote because your vote plus my vote plus that guy's vote plus that guy's vote does have a compounding effect. So, all right. Jack says, we have 2 retirement packages total around $200K. So we take a lump sum and put an IRA to invest or take a run. All right. So good. This is a pension question. So he's got $200,000 in retirement accounts. And if they were to annuitize them, pension annuitize, so you get $900 a month until they die. He didn't say how old he is, but we're going to take our trusty calculator. We're going to do $900. We're going to times it by 12. That gives us $10,800 a year in payment. We're going to take that $10,800 a month, a year, and we're going to divide it into $200,000, which gives us all of a 5.4% distribution yield. Not enough, Jack. I don't even care how old you are. If you're 60 years old, that's it's bordering okay. It's not enough to annuitize that. So I wouldn't do that. No way. Especially because that's not going to be inflated. I can't imagine that's inflated adjustment either. If it's 5.5%, 5.4% inflation adjustment, that's better. I would not do that. I'd roll it out into an IRA without question. Which means you use cardboard if you don't have plastic for your windows. Jeff says cardboard strips. Oops. Oh man. I keep going back through this. All right. So where's my man Jeff? Take cardboard strips, wrap plastic over the ends, and staple over the windows. We did it when I was young. Cardboard strips, over the plastic and staple it into the windows. All right, I get that. MRG, they still use plastic on windows. It's sold here in the stores. That's my man from Boston. Data, bread bags and window plastic. Been there, done that. You got to see this guy, his video, man, because he talks about the swing set. Oh, my God. So, like when your drunk dad set up the swing set, one of those steel, whatever they are, and you swing and one side comes up and the other side, so you're swinging and the other side comes up. You're like, I don't think that's supposed to come up. That's supposed to be in concrete or at least dug in the ground pretty heavily. And you're going up, I tell you, watch the John Heffron thing from Last Common Standing. Holy crap, it's funny, man. Oh, if you're not from the North, you won't find it funny. I'm just telling you, if you're from the North, you'll crack up. Or if you're from if you've been anywhere cold, let's just put it that way. And he talks about kicking off his boots when he gets home. He's like, kick them off like this. Instead of, because boys are too lazy, like get down there untie, so just like trying to kick it off, and then it goes flying across the room, and then it hits a lamp, and knocks it off, and breaks the. Oh my God. Oh, we gotta get serious. All right, can you transfer in the fourth quarter to avoid penalty and not forwarding taxes? Yeah, Kevin, probably. Yeah, I the whole thing with the penalty, I just don't know, man. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not paying taxes out of the gate. I'm just going to wait to get penalized. That's the way I do. I'm just lazy like that. I'm like, whatever, IRS penalize me later. I think it's 5% or something like that. I'm doing the transfer in the first quarter of 2019, the Roth conversion, not withholding anything. I'll do my taxes later, and then I'll pay the penalty at that point. That's just me. Is modified just gross income, Rick, and that just includes your tax exempt interest as well. So just keep that. How the cost of dental implants will drain IRAs. Believe it or not, Fred, I did a video similar like that a long time ago about how dental and vision is, I think it was mostly dental, is a big deal for sure because it's not covered by Medicare. Don't tell AOC that Medicare has a lot of deficiencies in there. Kevin says, I'm going to have 150 and a 457 plan that I intend to transfer to my Roth. I plan to do it. Right on. Tape the windows, carrot bags. He's married. Sotocano, yeah, dude. Dustin, you've been down there. Sotocano. We went to Sotocano. Yep, right on. Joint Task Force Bravo. We went to, which is where I literally found the change of my life with an Alan Drury book and some crappy old tiny library they had on Sotocano. And I remember getting ready to go to Tiger Island. I don't know what the hell we're doing there. I just remember we'd have to put the MoGas, I guess. So it has this big Chinook and it drop, and you have to go in there underneath this huge Chinook and you hook it up to get the MoGas, and it is freaking awesome. It's crazy. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm literally an 18-year-old kid, I guess I was 19 then, from an island on the coast of Maine. I've never done crap in my life, and here I am in Honduras in Tiger Island, a freaking Chinook over my head, and I'm taking this train and I'm hooking it onto the back of a Chinook so I can get MoGas or whatever the fuel was in there to run the generators that the Air Force guys had, who were doing the hard work with their freaking real food while we're just pulling security. But man, it's crazy. That's it. And then we got to go. So Tiger Island, I remember sitting out there, man. It was freaking. I tell you, where dreams may lead. I can't. It was Robin Williams was in this movie that this guy who had written the book I Am Legend or I Am Legion with that Will Smith was in. I'm drawing the blank. I'm drawing blank of people's names like crazy. I've got dementia or something like that. Anyway. The guy the Will Smith's in the book, I Am Legion, I'm Legend. I think it's I Am Legend or something like that. And the guy who wrote that book also wrote this book called Where Dreams May Come. I think is what it's called. And he talks about how heaven is so insanely awesome that you don't even know what it's like, if that makes sense. Human beings just can't fathom how insanely awesome heaven is. So, and C.S. Lewis talks about this. A lot of other Christian apologists too. And I just find that incredible. Anyway, so I'm sitting on Tiger Island. You're up on this mountain of an island, and you're just looking all in the Pacific. It's insane how beautiful it is. You're sitting there thinking, this is freaking insane. Primordial soup or God's divine intervention. Look, man, beauty like that does not come from coincidence. I'm sorry. You can't convince me otherwise, and you can't because you don't know any more than I do. But yeah, I'll never forget that looking over there and saying, this is insane, how gorgeous it was. I'll just share with you a story for the people who are new. So you got to go down this Tiger Island. You get to go down this little bar, a town part. So they bring their goats up there and they try to sell us. Well, they used to sell us whatever the Hondurans use for Coca-Cola. We'd buy some and we'd trade. And one time this guy, I'm sure his name's Jose, but I think it was Jose, was Donkey. He led us down a little town. And it's like Peaks Island in Maine. It's nothing big. It's just a little town, but they had beers and stuff like that, cervezas. And we're drinking at this bar on this beach. Oh, freaking! It was awesome. We all have our rifles. We have our M60s. We all got our flakjack, the whole thing. Because this is the Nicaragua. So Honduras was pretty calm back then. But Nicaragua is still the Sandinistas, and Honduras, Nicaragua, right there. El Salvador is right. So it's right all in there. And where we were in Tiger Island, I think we're overlooking I can't remember, but I just remember we're all decked out, all that stuff. So we're down there drinking beer. I'm sure we could have gotten in big trouble, but long story short, so I'll never forget. So you have to go to the bathroom. So you walk on this wharf, and you're at the end of the wharf. It's like an outhouse. You're like, all right. And so, you're getting ready to do your business, and there's this little toilet, and you're like, all right, you pull up the thing, and you realize you're peeing right into the ocean, right? So you're probably 20 feet above, and you open up the toilet, and you're like, oh, okay, it's just literally the ocean down there. So I'm taking a leak. Oh my God. These two kids go underneath where I'm, taking a leak. They look up. They're on like a raft. And I'm like, what the hell? It's like, oh, dude, I'm like peed on you. Oh my God. They're just floating around under the raft, right underneath the outhouse on this wharf. We're peeing. I got my rifle strapped on my back. We call them BDUs. You guys in the Marine Corps call them, I don't even know what candies. We call them BDUs. I don't think they call them that anymore. And I'm just dropping. These guys go, oh, yeah. Anyway, all right, enough of that. To clarify, I was talking about taking Social Security instead of IRA withdrawals, not on top of them. I can't remember what the first part of that was. I would take IRA withdrawals instead of Social Security is what I would do. And I'd wait to take Social Security later. Absolutely. Income versus net worth. Which one is the best strategy when you're getting ready to retire? I'm not sure why they're competing entities. I'm not following that, Peter. I'm not sure why they got mutually exclusive. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maria, hey, my husband died at age 63. I was 58. Okay. In 11 months, he did not touch his Social Security, which was 20 miles, 40. All right. Right on, Jeff. Been using DuckDuckGo. It is, yeah. Yeah, shady with Google. All right. All right. So, Maria, you are in a blessings to you for hanging in there. Sucks that you lost your husband. All right, so you don't say how old you are now, but remember, as a surviving spouse now, you have a lot of options that others don't have. What that means is you can take an early spousal or survivor benefit at 60. It will be reduced, but you can allow your own benefit to grow at 8% a year delayed earnings credits. Or you can do the other way around. You can take your own benefit right now and wait until your full retirement age to get your full husband's benefit at that $2,500 a month. You just got to crunch the numbers. Unlike a spousal benefit where those days are gone now, but you still have the ability for a survivor benefit to pull a benefit early and allow your other benefit to grow. So let's just say yours at your PIA is 1,400. And it's probably not going to be worth it. So your PIA, what you'll want to do is you want to take your benefit early at 62, because you can't take your benefit at 60. You can take a survivor benefit at 60 and allow your spousal benefit it won't grow. It'll grow with cost of living adjustments, but it won't grow. So basically, you're going to take your benefit early. It'll be about $1,100 a month. And then once you hit your full retirement age, 67, you'll get the $2,500 plus the cost of living adjustment on a survivor benefit. I hope that makes sense. It's a big deal. Please, for the love of Mary, do not rely on Social Security to tell you what to do. Look, no one can convince me they're not trained to tell people to take their earliest benefit. I don't care what anybody says. We've had investigations, and they still do the same damn thing, pardon my French, where people go in there. So just take you get, $1,300 or $1,250. Might as well take the $1,250. I might as well take the $1,300. Well, if they would have waited to take the $1,250 and not taken the $1,250, and if they would have waited, they would have got $1,800. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, we have evidence of that through the OIG, the Office of Inspector General, and it's nuts. It's still happening to this day. How do I know that? Because I just had a lady last month tell me the same freaking thing happened to her. Pisses me off, man. If my wife died and she goes down Social Security and they say take whatever, I'd be freaking pissed. I'd be like Ebenezer, what's that guy's name? Marley. I'd be out there in chains on a Social Security people in front of their house saying, "Bruh, the freaking wrong answer, man. You're there to serve us." I don't even blame the people at Social Security Administration, the ladies that you're talking to at the front. They don't know. They're just going on what they're told to do. Oh, man, it makes me so mad. So do not rely on Social Security, please. All right, Tina says, clarifying question. Someone stops working after 65, debt-free, $500K in their 401K. They need only $50K a year to live on. How do you suggest they clear out their 401K? Well, don't know what your Social Security is. Right, understood. But if you need, so you have 5 years, Tina, and Tina, if I recall, you're married. So you get 5 years from 65 until 70. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'd be pulling out 50 for income, 50 to Roth conversions. You'll still be in the 12% tax bracket because I believe you're married. And then that sucker will be almost minimal by the time you hit 70. I mean, it'll still be a little bit in there if you got some growth. But if I were you, I'd be doing 50 to live on income, 50 for Roth conversions, $100,000 a year from your 401K. Come 70 years old, you got $250 in a Roth, roughly, and you got nothing roughly in your 401K/IRA, and now you're taking your Social Security at $40,000 a year. Smoking deal, man. How do I invest $100,000? I don't know. Way too many questions to ask that. I don't know. Tim, right on. Don't worry about who will be running. Did you see Trump winning prior to 2016? I did, because I read the conservative treehouse. So they did all the poll analysis, and they all said it's not even going to be close. And my man Sundance at the conservative treehouse was right. And I did, because he said, look at these polls. If you just read how they're situated, you know this is all fake. And I did. And you can ask the people I used to work with at USA. So Trump's going to win, going away. Now, he didn't win the popular vote, but last I saw, the popular vote was meaningless. It was all about the states. Since Trump won 30, Hillary won 20. It's a landslide in that regard. Vanguard Wellington Global Wellington Fund. Wow. I didn't even know there's a Global Wellington Fund, Raul. So I'd have to look into that for sure. I don't know anything about the Global Wellington Fund. Sorry, brother. Newspaper work says insulation in boots and legs just can't be New York Times. Apple Valley, California in the house. By the way, we were in an accident March 3rd. I'm sorry to hear that, Maria. Husband died in a car crash March 13, 2008. Right after the accident, I was taken to the hospital. One of my legs broken. Should I apply? So I would, going back to your question before, I would take your Social Security and allow your husband's to. You'll get his. You'll get his. Damn, that sucks, man. We used to sit on the floor. We used to sit on the floor, register under a blanket in the winter to stay warm. When will your new book be on? Oh yeah, no, I just hired the. This time I'm using a man. I did a poll in the. It was close, but a lot. I think it's 55-45 to use a man's voice this time. So I hired a hippie-looking guy, long-haired guy. So, but I liked his voice. So we'll see how that shakes out. So he's working on it now, Jay. So I hope to get out of there ASAP so I can start making money because I'm a capitalist. Gotta get paid. But I'm looking forward to how he does that for sure. I like the other lady too. Just I figured change off be a good idea. All right. So Chad, I paid off my house at 40. Wow. Yeah, so Q Humor said, maybe it was you said that to me. Did you hear Congress introduce a new HSA bill that was introduced early this month? I heard about it. Someone sent me an email on that. I haven't read it yet, but that's freaking nuts. It sounds, if it's coming from the House, I know it's going to be nuts. And they all originate in the House, so I know it's going to be nuts. Chad says, I paid off my house at 42, 700,000 401k. Can I retire at 55? All right, so, I mean... All right, so Chad, don't take this wrong. I'm just going to use you as a case study of what's wrong with your question. None of this addresses the number one concern. I mean, I'm freaking awesome. You got no house mortgage. It's great. You have $700,000 in a 401k. You're 40, you retire at 55. So I'm going to throw it out there. What is the one thing missing from Chad's question? So Chad asked, I paid off my house at 42. I have $700,000 in 401k. Can I retire at 55? He's 47 now. His 401k has had a return of 9.6% since inception. That's completely irrelevant. So I'll throw it out there for any of y'all. We still got a pretty good crowd here. What marital status? One thing, Tina. There's something even more important than that. Yeah, right on. Jeff and Mary, right on. How much do you need to live on, brother? I don't know the answer to these questions. Tax strategy to some degree, Pete, but until we know what his expenses are, not even salary, J-Dub. It's how much does he need? Literally, it all comes down to how much he needs. Salaries, don't get me wrong, tax strategy, salary, marital status is all important. But if he needs $100,000 a year on, the answer is unequivocally no. If he needs $25,000 a year on, the answer is unequivocally yes. So you see this, and his previous return doesn't mean anything, first and foremost. But it's all about expenses. Everything when it comes to retirement is about expenses. I literally don't care. 4% rule, 5%, 20% rule. I don't care until we know how much you need to live on. Until we get a good gauge of that, I'm ignorant. And so in that case, I'd be agnostic. I don't know if you can retire. You got to know what your expenses are. And which is why I say LED lights, that can reduce while you're making money. You want to get, there you go, $50,000. It's kind of broad round number. Is that true? Let's just assume it's 50,000. So here's what I do. If I was working personally, if I'm going to stay in that house, I'm putting PV panels up there. Absolutely. I'm putting solar panels up there. What the hell is that, dude? Come on, kill me. I'm changing everything to LED lights. And the reason I'm doing all that is I want to reduce my expenses like crazy without question. I'm putting everything into, well, it's probably going to be tough to do that now, go while you're working. But the minute I stop working, I'm moving everything into Roth at that point for sure. Without question, I'm doing that. I'm developing skills that I can have another income coming in by the time I'm, 55? Yeah, 55. So I can have another sort of income coming in. Even that means doing one blog post every week, one blog post a month. I don't know, freaking, doing hookah culture, growing. I mean, this is what stuff I like. So I just use that, learning to weld so you can build gasifiers, so you can sell them so people can generate electricity with the wood that they can cut off their yard out back there. I mean, whatever it is you want to do, I'm looking at some way I can say when I'm getting out of work at 55 years old, let's just say I'm a cop. And I know I want to do these things right here and write books. I'm starting anything. I'm starting a YouTube channel. I'm starting a blog post. I'm freaking a podcast. I don't even care what it is. I'm going to learn to play guitar because I've always wanted to be, the freaking next metalhead out there. I don't know, don't care. But I am working my tail off to get some kind of skill set that I can fall back on to earn some money, even if it's $1,000, $2,000 a month. But going off your assumption, let's say that money doubles. I doubt it. Well, just say you get 1.4 million. And you're 55 years old and you need 50,000 a year, that's a non-starter, brother. Easy. You factor in, hell, in that case, 12, not even 12% taxes, 10% taxes. We'll just say $5,000 a year in taxes, 5,000, so 55,000 a year on a $1 million portfolio, even that's a non-starter. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, my friends, we're at the 2-minute mark exactly. Well, that's part of the expenses, Tina. Good question. How's healthcare being covered? I agree. That's a great question. You're gonna have to figure that out. But that will be part of the expenses for sure. And Chad, don't take this wrong. I mean, you asked a question, I hammered you. No hard feelings there, brother. But the expenses, you got to know what they are. And I have a sneaky suspicion throwing 50,000 there, you're not really sure. That's okay. Why would you know? You don't know. So all you can do is you can plan. You can. I figured you would, Dust. I can only imagine the stories you got in the Marine Corps. My wife's she had 8 brothers and sisters, right? So one of her sisters married a sergeant, literally sergeant major in the Marine Corps. He was up for command sergeant major. He was up there, and he was the head of recruiting. And some of the stories that guy would tell when he was like first sergeant and stuff. I mean, he said, "Dude, I do more counseling than the most prominent psychologist out there with his young Marines." And just actually, speaking of Maria, was it Maria whose husband died in 2018? Just still to this day, no, Woody, just such a freaking great guy. Well, anyway, so Woody was sitting there watching TV one day, and his youngest son, said, "Dad, turn the TV down. I'm trying to do my homework." Oh, thanks, Tina. Anyway, just hear me out here, Tina, real quick, because don't be too overly concerned about your money instead of hanging out with your better. Well, you are the better half. You're the lady, so your other half. But anyway, so he's sitting there watching TV one day, and his son said, "Dad, turn it down. It's too loud." Went out there, and he was dead. Heart attack right there watching TV, watching the Colts play football because he was from Baltimore originally, Johnny Unitas. And his son came out there, and then the friggin' kid had a math test the next day, and they lived in Beaufort, Bluffton, someplace in South Carolina. Not a good place. And teacher, he said, "Look, my dad just died. I can't take the math test." And the teacher said, "No excuses." Can you believe that? Found his dad dead in the chair. Had a heart attack. His dad was only 64 years old. I think he even had a bowl of ice cream because he loved his ice cream. And freaking teacher said, "No excuses." Freaking punk teacher, man. I mean, talk about just want to just pound somebody. And the mom had to go. I mean, the teacher was unbending here. And on top of that, they had a CPR class like 3 days later. They talked about how some kid was his dad died, and they were telling the story about it, and the kid was in the friggin' class hearing the story talk about his dad in the CPR class, how you need to know CPR. What the hell? So I tell you, man, when it comes to bullies, some of the biggest bullies out there are teachers. No other way around that. You should see some of these ass clowns that my kids had to deal with. You just want to pound them. You're like, what the hell? I mean, because these people, look, there's some wonderful teachers out there who do wonderful jobs. But first day of school tomorrow, Some of these teachers are just freaking bad people. They're bullies, man. There's some but so you good teachers, you're allowing the bullies, the horrible teachers to, I think, it's kind of like financial planners. So lots of good financial planners out there. But some of the bad financial planners ruin it for everybody else. You got to police them up. Yeah. All right. Anyway, enough of that. We'll see you guys. Have a good evening. All right. First day of school. Here, at least here in Georgia. We'll see you. You got it, Peter.